Okay, this is 7.3, how to bisect an angle. Now there's several ways that we can use to bisect an angle. You can trace it, you can use a protractor, or you can use a compass. We're going to teach you how to use a compass. Okay, first off, let's do some. Try these. Half of 45, I'll just take your calculator. 45 divided by 2 is just 22.5 degrees, and double 51, we'll just take 51 times 2, which is 102 degrees. Okay, you can just do that in your head. That's mental math. Bisector. Here's another term that we need to know. Bisector is the line that divides an angle or line into two equal parts. Okay, so bisecting an angle means we're cutting that angle in half. So in baseball, the pitcher's mound is located on the bisector of the angle at home plate, THF. How can you bisect THS to locate the shortstop position? Well, we know the shortstop position is over here, if you know anything about baseball. Okay, well, you can use tracing paper. I don't like tracing paper. I find it very inefficient, but that's one way you can do it. It's hard for me to show it to you on here. Or you can use a protractor. Okay, so we can put the protractor on one of these lines right here, and we know that the angle up to S on our protractor, we just find whatever reading that is on the protractor, cut that in half, divide it by 2, and that'll give us this position over here. So protractor is probably the second best way to bisect an angle. But there is another way I find it a little bit more fun, and that's using a compass. Okay, so it's really hard for me to show you how to bisect an angle, but there's 4 great diagrams here that can show you how to bisect an angle if you follow them very closely using a compass. So supposing we have an angle, let's call it STF. Here's our angle right here. Okay, STF. We don't know what angle this is. We could take our protractor, find out what the angle is, divide that number by 2, and then locate that point on a protractor, put a mark out here, and then take our ruler and we could draw it. But if you have a compass, it's kind of fun to do it this way. So the way we do it, you don't even have to measure or label anything. All you need to do is take your compass and just set it somewhere. Doesn't really matter. Set the length or the distance from the point to the tip of the pencil almost to the point S, okay, almost to the length of the line. You can see they went about maybe 2/3 of the way. So they stretched out the compass to go to about here. And they put the point on T, and what you do is you draw an arc. Okay, and you take that and you draw an arc from one arm on TS all the way down through to another arm, and you label that X and Y. Okay, just label it X and Y. You got a point there, point there. Now, I want you to remember, you cannot change the length or the distance between the pencil and the point. Remember, don't bump it, don't move it. Keep it always the same, otherwise you're going to run into problems. Now you take that same compass and you haven't made it bigger or smaller, you've kept it the same. You put the point on point X, and then just somewhere out here where you think the middle of that bisector might be, you draw another arc. Okay, very carefully draw another arc from X. Okay, and then you take the compass and you put it on point Y. Okay, the point on point Y, and you draw another arc through the one you drew from point X, and you're going to get an intersection right here. And because you've kept the distance from here to here the same, always as you're doing this, you're going to get what we call the point between point T and this point here, and let's just label it Z, as the bisector. So you take your ruler and you connect those 2 points, and that's going to be the exact halfway point, the exact bisector of angle STF. So that means that this angle right here and this angle right here are equal. Okay? So not a very hard thing to do. If you run into some trouble when you're going to do some practice in bisecting, just come back to these 4 drawings, A, B, C, and D, and you will have no problems doing it. It's kind of a fun exercise to do, bisecting an angle. Okay, so go ahead and do the practice.